I'm 32M and I'm posting because I feel like I'm living inside a story someone else is writing for me. Every time I try to explain what's happening, I get told I'm overreacting, defensive, or hiding something. Me, 32NM, my wife, Lena, 27 Eve, our son, 2, baby Nurbird 2, due in a few months, mother in law, Maris, 54F, wife's best friend, Jessa, 27F. We've been together a little over 5 years. And yes, early on, I made mistakes, not cheating, but lying by omission. Once I avoided mentioning I'd eaten at a restaurant years ago with an ex because I knew it would start a fight. Another time, I didn't immediately mention I'd seen my ex at a crowded event. No conversation, just noticed her. Lena calls those proof I can lie to her face. Now, everything is filtered through one assumption. He's capable of lying, so anything I suspect is probably true. The cheating accusations used to be occasional spirals. Now they're constant. We work from home, we barely go out. Our house has cameras because Lena said they make her feel safe. She has access to everything, my phone, email, accounts. I agreed because I thought transparency would help. It didn't. If Lena finds a hair in the bathroom, it's evidence. If there's a stain on a towel, it's makeup. If a camera glitches because the Wi Fi drops, it's me turning it off. If I get panicky trying to defend myself, it's guilt. If this felt like anxiety, I could cope, but it feels like a system because Maris is always there, quietly steering. Maris never raises her voice. She uses questions like pressure. Are you sure you should trust him? Why would an honest man get defensive? Do you want your children growing up around that? She never says, leave him. She says, you deserve certainty, and watches Lena like she's waiting for the right moment. And Jessa amplifies it. She sends Lena cheating signs, reels about double lives, and messages like, Daniel, if he really loved you, you'd never doubt. Lena is exhausted and pregnant and terrified of repeating her parents' history, so she listens. 2 months ago, Lena found a short gray hair in our bathroom. I honestly have no idea where it came from. We've had contractors. We have a used couch. We have a dog that sheds endlessly. Lena held the hair up and said, tell me the truth. I said I didn't know. Maris, standing in the doorway, said softly, Lena, don't let him confuse you. A week later, there was a small brown stain on a towel. Lena said it was makeup. I said it could be dirt, coffee, marker. Our toddler is chaotic. Lena's eyes went cold. You're scrambling, she said. Jessa texted Lena while we were standing there. Don't let him gaslight you. The irony almost broke me because I wasn't gaslighting anyone. I was the one starting to doubt my own face, my own tone, my own memory. Sometimes I rehearse innocent explanations before Lena even asks, like I'm on trial in my own home. After one spiral, I suggested couples therapy. Lena agreed, but only if Maris could help us choose the therapist. When I said therapy should be neutral, Lena accused me of isolating her from her support system. That's Maris's favorite framing. Boundaries equals control. Then I found out Maris and Jessa had created a group chat with Lena called Safety Plan. I didn't go looking. Lena left her tablet open on the couch and the messages popped up. Maris wrote, don't confront him without evidence. He'll deny. Keep notes. Patterns matter. If he's innocent, he'll cooperate. Jessa wrote, make him give you passwords again. Watch how he reacts. Tell him you might stay with your mom. See if he panics. Guilty men panic. Lena replied with a heart emoji. It hit me that they weren't just worried. They were running experiments on me and labeling my reactions as proof. The next day, I got a message from Maris that made my hands go cold. She wrote, "Given Lena's stress, it might be best if she stays with me for a while. Not visit, not rest, stays." Then she added, "We can set up the nursery here. It will be calmer." I asked Lena if that was what she wanted. She said, "I don't know. Mom just wants what's best." And when I said it felt like they were trying to separate us, Lena sighed and said, "Why do you always assume the worst about my mom?" Because I can see the chessboard, that's why. That weekend, Jessa invited us to dinner to clear the air. Halfway through, she casually said, "If Lena ever did leave, she'd get full custody anyway. Courts always side with moms." She laughed like it was a joke. Maris smiled into her tea. I said, "That's not funny." Jessa tilted her head and said, "See? Defensive." Then she turned to Lena and said, "This is what I mean. He gets angry when he's cornered." I wasn't cornered. I was being framed. That night, I told Lena I'd seen the chat and it scared me. I said, "This is a strategy. This isn't partnership." Lena didn't look ashamed. She looked angry. "You invaded my privacy," she said. Then, "You're trying to control me because you're guilty." I said, "They're telling you to test me." She said, "Because you can't be trusted." And that's when I realized the triangle was complete. Maris creates the frame, Jessa amplifies it, Lena enforces it. I become the villain by default. I told Lena I can't live like this. I said I'd do therapy. I said I'd be transparent, but I won't be interrogated and I won't have her mother and best friend running our marriage. Lena cried and said, "So you're making me choose." I said, "No, I'm asking you to choose reality." She whispered, "Reality is that you lied before." I slept on the couch. In the morning, Maris arrived with groceries like nothing happened. I watched her whisper to Lena in the hallway, and Lena's posture changed like she'd been armed again. So here's my question: how do you fight a narrative being built around you by people who benefit from you being the bad guy? Because I'm terrified that if I push back, they'll paint me as abusive. If I stay quiet, they'll paint me as guilty. Update 1, 2 weeks later, I stopped debating clues. I stopped trying to prove negatives. I focused on boundaries. I also took back one small piece of my dignity, the cameras. Not removing them, Lena wasn't ready for that, but making them neutral. I moved the admin account to a shared email we both access, changed the passwords with Lena present, and printed the settings. So the next time Maris said he can doctor the cameras, I could say, "No, you can check the logs together." It didn't solve the trust problem, but it removed one of their favorite imaginary weapons. I asked Lena to attend couples counseling with a neutral therapist I chose. I said Maris and Jessa would not be involved. Lena said I was cutting her off. I said, "I'm protecting our marriage from outside management." Maurice called me. She said, "Stop making Lena feel unsafe." I said, "Accusing me without evidence is what makes this unsafe." Maris paused and said, "If you loved her, you'd accept her feelings as truth." I said, "Feelings are real, they're not evidence." I set one rule: if you accuse me of cheating without evidence, I will leave the room. No arguing, no pleading, no trial. Lena tested it that night. She demanded to know who emailed me. It was a client. I stood up and left the room. She followed me crying, saying I was abandoning her. Maris texted, "This is emotional abuse." Jessa texted Lena, "He's punishing you for having instincts." I looked at Lena and said, "Do you hear how they talk about me? Do you hear how they've decided who I am?" 2 days later, Lena showed up to the first therapy session. She barely spoke, but she came. Update 2, 5 months later, one thing the therapist asked Lena was who she talked to after we fought. Lena admitted Mom and Jessa. The therapist asked, Do they help you feel calmer or do they help you feel more certain you're right? Lena didn't answer at first. Then she whispered, more certain. That was the moment I saw it land because certainty can feel like safety. And Maurice sells certainty like a product. Therapy didn't fix everything, but it made the patterns visible. Our therapist said something Lena hated but couldn't dismiss. If you outsource your trust, you'll never build it. Lena still gets scared, but now sometimes she says, I'm spiraling instead of you're lying. And I learned I can regret my early mistakes without accepting a lifetime sentence. We set boundaries with Maris. Visits are scheduled, no marriage discussions, no group chats about safety plans. Jessa is still around, but Lena doesn't treat her like a second spouse. Maris reacted predictably, said I was controlling, said Lena was changing. But for the first time, Lena didn't translate Maris's fear into my guilt. She told her mother, stop. We're not perfect, but we are finally living in the same reality. Because when someone needs you to be the villain so they can be the protector, they will keep sharpening that story quietly, strategically, for as long as you let them. I'm done letting other people manage my marriage like a project. This concludes today's story. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to support our work.